We're going to start with the notes page, this one, where you're writing down your key terms and such. All right, we have one key term today. That's it, one. So if you got writer's cramp from doing key terms yesterday, today should be better. All right. And the only key term we have in this section is posting. And that's what we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks, is we're going to be working on posting information from the general ledger from the general journal, to the general ledger that we just created. And so posting is transferring information from a journal entry to a ledger account. Transfer information out of the journal and into the general ledger. And this is where you're going to find out that you're doing a lot of page flipping and moving paper around. The things you will need: the general journal page I gave you, with all that amazing stuff filled in, and your ledgers that you created yesterday. They're going to be working hand in hand. We're going to be moving stuff out of the ledger and moving stuff out of the journal and sticking it into the ledger. The first step when you're posting is to post the general column, 2 general columns of your journal. Right. So right now, today, we are going to totally ignore everything over here, and we're going to ignore the totals. They don't exist. And we only care about the general columns for our business. And posting is really easy, but it's also easy to make a mistake because you're transferring numbers. So you do not have to go 100 miles an hour. You can take your time to make sure you get it right. So you should remember that the general column, these numbers correlate to these accounts. So our first account is going to be Kim Park Capital. So I'm going to go to my ledger. I'm going to find Kim Park Capital. And yes, remember they're in numerical order. If you can try to keep them in numerical order, that'll help you. You're going to find this thing. Kim Park Capital, account 310. And yes, this is where it gets annoying.
I feel like it's better with Staples.
This is all we had to do to open them. We just opened the accounts. Did we not open we didn't open the last 2? And when we need them, we'll open them.
What do I feel like I want to staple these?
You can staple them.
Can't staple them?
Yeah, you can. If you think it's going to help you to keep them straight, to staple them.
I think just the keeping it.
That's fine. Alright, so we're going to be moving some stuff. The first thing we're going to move is the date. The date in the journal is August 1st, 2018. So the date in my ledger is going to be August 1st, 2018. In this chapter, we will not use the item column. It comes into play later on, but not for right now. We're just doing straight posting. We don't have to put anything in the item column. Post reference. Where is this information coming from? This information is coming from my general journal, page 1. Right? And because we're only using a general journal, we can just put 1. Meaning it came from page 1. Once we have a page 2, you can put a 2 in there.
I feel like this would be easy.
I'm letting
Oh.
know.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, it's just the number 1.
Oh, sorry.
coming from page 1. Alright. And I look here and I see that it was a credit of $5,000. So I'm going to come to my first credit column. I'm going to go 5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Yes, you have to put all the zeros in. Alright. Now, there was nothing before this point, and so that means I have a credit balance of 5,000. So the number just transfers over to the credit column. And the last thing I need to do is I need to show in my journal that I posted this. So I posted this to account 310. Not making it up, it's right there. I'm going to go to my post reference in my journal and go 310. That's posted.
Well, what about the debit?
Yeah.
The debit will be done later on. We're going to be doing column totals later on, and it's going to save you time. Because you don't want to have to post all of those caches independently. We're going to post them in a lump sum. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is supplies on the 3rd. That one's done. Posting over. August 3rd, we have supplies, a debit of $275, so I have to find my supplies account. I'm going to start folding mine over. And there's my supplies account. I start with the date, August 3rd. This is the first time I'm writing the date in this ledger, so I have to put in the month and the year. 2018. After the first time I won't have to, but it's the first time in this ledger. There's nothing for item. Post reference, this is still coming from page 1.
Does it matter where, like, what supplies is? Because mine's on the bottom.
That's okay. Mine's actually on the bottom too. I folded my paper because I didn't want to keep covering up. I have a debit of $275. So I fill in debit of $275. I had no balance before, so I just moved that over to the debit balance. Yes.
I don't have supplies.
Yes, you do. It's number 140. I copied mine, so you definitely have it. I made those copies.
Yeah.
Last thing I need to do is I need to take my account number 140, move it back to my journal. 140, post reference in my journal. That's as easy as posting is. Should be an easy check. Oh. So you didn't read your, well, take it out. Good, cross it off. Write it in the correct one. It's important to have it in the correct account. Alright. Next one is prepaid insurance.
Prepaid. August.
It's just referencing where did the information come from. So the page, nope, page number. So it's all, they're all going to be 1. Yep. So I start with my date, August 4th, 2018. Nothing in the item. Post reference, this came from page 1. And it's a debit of 1,200. I don't have a balance to start with, so 0 plus 1,200 is 1,200. And then I'm going to take 130 and put it back in my journal. 130. Ooh, supplies again. Look at that, they bought some more supplies. This time it's on the 7th. So I can just put in the number 7. I don't have to write August again. All right, nothing for item. Still coming from page 1 of my journal. And this time it's a debit of $50 or $500, excuse me. Now the balance gets a little trickier. We had a debit balance, and now we're debiting the account again. So are we going to add the two together or subtract the two? Add. Two debits add up, right? So I'm going to take 275 plus 500. 775. I'm going to take 140, put it back in my journal. Next I'm going to look for is accounts payable supply depot. What's the date on this one? The 7th. Yep, just because it doesn't have a number, it all went together. So we got August 7th, 2018. Post reference is still coming from page 1. Nothing item. Credit was $500. I had nothing. I add 500 to that. I get a $500 credit. And then I'm done. Right? No, it's a trick. I'm not done. What did I not do?
Oh,
Write your post
210.
Yeah, I need to put my post reference in my journal. 210.
Thought you meant that page up there.
What?
Never mind. I'm tired. I won't.
Next transaction is August 11th. We paid Supply Depot some money, so it could just stay in our accounts payable Supply Depot. And we're going to put in the 11th. Still coming from page 1 of the journal. It's a $300 debit. Oh, tricky, tricky. We had a $500 credit, and we just debited the account for $300. So what happens? Add or subtract? Subtract. 500 minus 300, $200 credit. Your balance should never jump sides. All right? It starts on the credit side. It will always be a credit balance. If you think at some point it's supposed to jump to a debit, you're wrong. You've made a mistake. And they'll never jump sides.
Why is that?
Because that's its normal balance. If that became a debit, that means that Supply Depot now suddenly owed us money.
That's true. That'd be weird.
And then I gotta fill in 210 on my journal.
I guess.
And then I get to the 12th. Not sales.
What?
Sales is its own special column. Remember, we're only dealing with general column. Is there anything in the general columns?
Oh, no.
No. That's why there's a check mark in post reference. Because we don't have to post that individually.
Oh, so
It's
that's
done.
what it's used.
That's what the check mark and the V's are all about, right there. So we're done with that line. We get to the next one. Accounts receivable, Oakdale Schools.
Front page.
I'm folding mine again, so if you're freaking out about why yours is on the bottom. I start with my date, August 12th, 2018. I have no item. I do have a post reference of page 1. It says that it's a debit of $350. A nothing balance. plus a $350 debit means a $350 debit balance. And then I'm going to take 120 and back to my journal. Rent expense. Now this is probably the first one I didn't have you open yesterday. Sorry. I forgot that we ran out of time. So find a blank one. Put in rent expense 510. Here's your account number. Otherwise, I know you guys are super good at this because it's very repetitive. August 12th, 2018. Nothing for item. Post reference page 1. A general debit of 300. So a debit of 300. I had no balance. I debited for 300, so I have a $300 debit balance. And then I take 510 back to my journal. And then you have another one that I didn't have you create yet. Utilities expense. Utilities expense will be 520 for your account number. So you have to open it. You can open it right below utilities. I just folded mine. That's it. So utility expense 520. And we're ready to post as soon as you got it open. You put in the date. August 12th, 2018. There is no item. Post reference page 1.
$40.
We're going to debit it for $40. A nothing plus a debit is a debit of $40 balance. 520 back to the journal.
Is there a song for this?
Do you want there to be a song?
Is there not?
Not that I know of, but I can maybe create one tonight. Accounts receivable. Good old Oakdale Schools. On the 18th, I don't have to write the month anymore because they already had something going on this month. Page 1, a credit of 200. I had a debit balance, and then I credited the account, so I clearly paid off some of the money. So I'm going to add or subtract. Subtract 150, and then 120. And the last one, Kim Park Drawing. Good old Kim Park, taking money out of his account, taking money out of his business. On August 18th, 2018. Nothing for item. Post reference, still on page 1. Debit of $125. There was nothing. I debited the account, therefore I have a debit of $125. And I take $320 back to the journal. And that, folks, is the first step of posting. Number one mistake made by people: transferring the wrong number, making a 500 5,000. Right. So as easy as it is, as simple as the process is, making sure that you're not putting the numbers, like switching up the numbers, changing them, that will be your biggest hurdle.